Imagine a morning in the city of Miletus, around 2,600 years ago. Narrow stone streets echoed with the cries of merchants, some hawking cloth, others offering wine. And in the corner of the marketplace, a simple man was busy pouring olive oil from a large jar into smaller vessels. To the people in that market, he was just another ordinary trader. No fine robes, no guards, not even a proper shop, only a wooden table. Yet one day, his name would be remembered across the world, Thales of Miletus. That day, no one imagined that the man bustling with his small business was hiding a great secret, a secret that would make him remembered not as a merchant, but as the first philosopher in history, the first to dare say that nature could be explained by human reason, not merely through the myths of gods. The question is, how could a simple olive oil trader transform into an icon of Greek thought, a figure who inspired Plato, Aristotle, and even modern scientists? Was it his wealth that made him known? Or was there a hidden story behind his journey from the small markets of Miletus to the grand stage of world history? Thales was born around 624 BCE in Miletus, an important port city on the Ionian coast of ancient Greece, today part of modern Turkey. Miletus was no ordinary city. Its strategic location on the Aegean Sea made it a hub of international trade. Ships from Egypt, Phoenicia, and Babylon came and went, bringing spices, cloth, metals, and knowledge. Young Thales grew up amid this bustle. From childhood, he saw Phoenician gold coins, heard foreign tongues from merchants, and smelled the exotic spices carried from distant lands. He was not the son of nobles, nor of temple priests. He was a commoner, and that is precisely what made him remarkable. Accustomed to cultural diversity, his mind was never bound to one single belief. As a young man, he learned to trade, calculate profits, and manage olive groves. His early life showed no sign that he would become a legend. Yet quietly he carried an insatiable curiosity. Each time he looked at the stars, he asked, why do they move? Each time he saw a river flow, he wondered, where does this water come from? The curiosity would carry him far, beyond the markets of Miletus, on a search for answers in the great civilizations of the ancient world. While other youths in Miletus were content to trade in the marketplace, Thales felt something greater awaited him beyond the city. He heard sailors' tales of the colossal pyramids of Egypt, of Babylonian priests who could read the stars, of hidden secrets locked away in distant lands. Eventually, he set sail from his homeland. A simple wooden ship with cloth sails carried him up the Nile. There, he met Egyptian surveyors measuring land after the annual floods. They did not rely on guesses, but on geometry, ropes, angles, the shadows of the sun. Thales was astonished. He learned how pyramids could be measured without climbing them. His journey continued to Babylon. At night, he sat with priests who gazed intently at the heavens, recording the movements of stars and the moon on clay tablets. From them, Thales learned about eclipse cycles and the order of the cosmos. For many, this knowledge was merely a tool of the temples. But Thales saw something greater. The world had laws, and humans could understand them. When he returned to Miletus, many mocked him. What use is knowledge if you remain poor? They sneered. Philosophy was dismissed as empty chatter, so Thales decided to prove a point. He observed the signs of nature and predicted that the olive harvest the following year would be abundant. Quietly, he rented all the olive presses in advance while prices were still low. When harvest season came, his prediction was correct. Olive groves overflowed, and people rushed to press their fruit. All the presses were in Thales' hands. He rented them out at high prices and instantly became rich. But surprisingly, Thales did not stop there. He shared his wealth and declared, I can be rich if I wish, but I choose to pursue knowledge, for that is far more valuable. This silenced many critics. They realized philosophers were not lazy or useless. On the contrary, they could see further ahead, farther than any merchant. Knowledge and experience gave Thales the courage to propose the boldest idea of his time. He declared, everything comes from water. To us now, this sounds simple, even wrong. But in the 6th century BCE, such a statement was revolutionary. Everyone believed that the earth, sea, and sky were ruled by gods. Lightning was Zeus's anger. Floods were Poseidon's wrath. Thales disagreed. For him, no gods were needed to explain nature. A single principle sufficed: water. For water could transform into ice, steam, rain, rivers, even seas. Water sustained life. From this, he concluded that water was the fundamental substance of all things. Though it may seem naive, his idea was groundbreaking. Nature could be explained rationally without myth. This was the dawn of scientific philosophy. Thales was not only a philosopher, He was also a skilled mathematician. In Egypt, he amazed people with a simple method. He planted a staff in the ground, waited until its shadow matched its height, then measured the pyramid's shadow. That way, he could determine the pyramid's height without climbing it. In Greece, he demonstrated simple theorems about circles, triangles, and parallel lines. One of them is now known as Thales' theorem. If a point lies on a circle's diameter, the angle it makes is always a right angle. For people of his time, mathematics was only a tool for trade, but Thales made it the key to understanding the world. He showed that geometry could bridge human thought with the universe. His genius reached its peak in 585 BCE. At the time, two great kingdoms, Lydia and Media, were locked in bloody war in Asia. Minor, swords clashed, spears pierced, blood flowed. Yet Thales, with knowledge from Babylon, had warned an eclipse was coming. And indeed, in the midst of battle, the sun began to fade. The bright sky suddenly turned to darkness. Soldiers froze. Kings trembled. They believed it was a sign of divine wrath. The war was halted immediately, and a peace treaty was signed. Everyone whispered. Thales' prediction had saved thousands of lives. Thales wrote no books, but he left behind students. From his teachings grew the great tradition of Greek philosophy. There was Anaximander, who expanded on his master's idea by claiming the origin of everything was the infinite. There was Anaximenes, who declared that air was the fundamental element. Later generations produced Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, figures who changed the course of human thought. Imagine, from an olive oil trader arose a chain of philosophy that would one day inspire modern science. Without Thales, perhaps Europe would never have known science as we do today. Looking at his life, we cannot help but marvel. He began in a simple marketplace, managing jars of olive oil. Then he sailed, learned from great civilizations, and became a philosopher, mathematician, astronomer, and diplomat. He proved that wisdom could grow from everyday experience, that even a trader could change the world if he dared to think beyond his time. No wonder Thales was honored as one of the 7 sages of Greece, the highest title of respect for an ancient thinker. He was revered not only in Miletus but across all of Greece. Yet there is an irony always remembered about Thales. Legend says he did not die in war or in a palace, but stumbled while walking, his eyes fixed on the stars. Many laughed. Look, the philosopher can see the heavens, but forgets the ground beneath his feet. But perhaps that was his greatest message. He showed that a man could be born humble, mocked by others, yet if he dared to seek truth, he could leave an eternal legacy. Wealth can vanish, kingdoms can fall, but ideas endure forever. Today, each time we use geometry, study astronomy, or simply ask, why is the world this way? We are continuing the legacy of an olive oil trader who dared to dream bigger.